You wanna know who I am? Folks call me the Bone Man, ain't my real name, but it's the one that stuck. Tonight on Requiem Radio, we ride a lonely stretch of rail in the fog-bound hills, a crooked little line where the rails twist and rot and the cliffs drop off into nothing. A place cursed with accidents, whispered about by locals and haunted by a signalman who never left. Folks say the line hums with a song that spins men dizzy, and some music don't just warn, it drags you into the crash. This one's about a mysterious dark shadow, a train that won't stop, and a heavy metal song called Crazy Train. So lean close, mind the fog, and keep your hands on the levers, unless you want to become the next signalman. This one here is called 3 Warnings of the Crazy Train. I'd never stood alone on a railway line like this before. The tracks seemed endless, fading into a wasteland of fog where twisted steel disappeared into nothing. The ties beneath my boots were half-rotted, soft with rain. The signal box was my station, a wooden shack perched on the cliff's edge, leaning forward as if it had grown weary of its own weight. Its windows were streaked with rain and time. Folks in town had their stories about this place. They said it was cursed, haunted by a signalman who died long ago while trying to stop accidents that couldn't be stopped. I told myself those were just tales for children and drunks. Fate, I thought, was no more than chance. But by the time evening came and the fog thickened, doubt crept in. At first it was only a faint vibration under the floorboards. Then the song came blaring in a jagged rhythm, blaring and impossible as if the very walls were amplifiers. Was that Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train? Seriously? The music rose from nowhere, pulsing through my chest. That's when I saw him. A dark shadow at the far window, still as stone, pointing down toward the tracks below. Through the fog, I made out a woman walking across the rails. She couldn't have missed the train's whistle, couldn't have ignored the tremble of the ground beneath her feet, but she was transfixed as if caught in a spell. I rang the bell and shouted. I ran outside, waving my arms. None of it mattered. The train struck her with a scream of brakes and tearing metal. Her body fell across the rails and the song pounded louder inside my skull. That was the first warning. The dark shadow, the song, and a tragedy I could not prevent. Days later came the second. The music of Crazy Train returned, faint at first, then roaring through the box like a storm. The dark shadow stood opposite me, gesturing furiously at the levers. My hands moved without thought, mirroring his signals. Down the line, I saw workmen on a narrow trestle bridge. Rain made the wood slick and fog swallowed the gorge. They heard the whistle, knew the train was coming, but there was nowhere to run. I shouted, rang the bell, tried to wave them off, but it was hopeless. The train came screaming out of the mist right into them. Sparks flew, tools scattered, and men tumbled into the darkness below. That was the second warning. Not hope, but inevitability. By the time the third arrived, dread had hollowed me out. The air in the signal box felt heavy, charged with static. The fog pressed against the glass as if trying to get inside. Crazy Train erupted again, louder than before, rattling the windows and shaking the walls. The dark shadow thrashed, gesturing wildly, pointing at me, pointing at the track. This warning wasn't for others, it was for me. I tried to back away, but my feet held firm. My hands seized the bell, ringing it with frantic urgency. Through the fog I saw it, my train bearing down faster than any machine should move. The rails were slick with rain, warped by years of neglect, and the signal box stood too close to the bend. When the locomotive derailed, the world came apart. Sparks and steel and shattered timbers tore through me. Crazy Train roared, drowning out the scream of the wreck. And then, silence. I opened my eyes and found myself back inside the box. The levers were upright, the bell at rest, the rails stretching endlessly into the fog. No sign of the wreck, no body to be found, and the dark shadow was gone. The third warning had been fulfilled, and I understood. I had become the new signal man. Now I keep the watch. The Crazy Train song rises when it will, vibrating through the floorboards, through my chest, through the bones of the building itself. I pull the levers, I ring the bell, I shout at the fog, but it's always too late. And in the corner of my vision, I sometimes see him. The dark signal man, pale and frantic, urging me on, reminding me there's no escape.
You've been listening to Requiem Radio, where music bleeds into the supernatural. And that was 3 warnings of the Crazy Train. The rails might lie quiet, the fog might settle, but that song don't never stop. It spins through the mist, rattles the ties, hums in the bell, and waits for the next fool who listens too long. It's patient, it's eternal, and one day it'll come calling for you too. Ain't gonna be no more tonight. Y'all rest easy, and don't let the dark drive you home.